Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel and welcome to another look in my 2026 reading journal. So I did mention in my cover page video, which I'll have linked below if you haven't seen it yet, that I was going to bring the reading journal series that I'm doing over on Instagram on how to start a reading journal for 2026 onto YouTube. I want to give you full transparency here and say that I've had to come up with a little bit of a compromise. I am finding myself a little bit stretched for time, as in I can't bring those ideas over to YouTube and make a long format video as well and make it not be rambly and you know what I mean? Like I did film a few portions of it and I did do some when I was sick and it didn't turn out great. So I looked at my footage, I sat down with myself and decided I'm just going to share on YouTube the setup for every single page that I put in to my reading journal for 2026 and just some ideas along the way. But if you're looking for information on how to set up a reading journal and you have Instagram, I would highly recommend checking out my series on there. I have a highlight reel at the top of my profile so you can follow along there. I find that I'm getting enough information across in the small format of reels and some carousel posts. So do check that out if you're needing some inspiration for 2026 or you're wanting to start your own journal. But for today, we're going to be looking at my reading goal tracker. I am very happy to be doing the first functional page in my reading journal. I did plan this out and actually for the first time I used a different system. I planned this out digitally, so I have a really great resource from Jashi Koren. I'm going to link her video in the description below about how to use this resource, and then you can get to the link. Essentially, I paid, I think maybe $5 or $10 for this really helpful journal Excel sheet. I think you can also use it on Google Sheets, but I decided to use Excel, and it has all the sizes of journals, or most sizes anyway. And if you need another size, I think she's very helpful with adding that into the resource. And essentially I found the B5 size because that's what my journal for 2026 is, and I've been planning out what I want my page to look like. It's very easy and straightforward to do once you've watched the video and she's walked you through how to set it all up. And I've been having so much fun. Having this open while I was working on this particular page was such a godsend because I didn't have to map everything out. Obviously you see that I did all the boxes on the screen before, but I didn't have to play around with it too much. I didn't have to think it out while I was looking at the page because I had all the grid mapped out on this really wonderful resource. So like I said, I'll have it linked in the description below. I decided for 2026 that I was going to do something different because one, my goal for 2026 is to slow down a little bit with my reading, not necessarily stop reading or read a lot less, because generally my goal was 150 books for the last 2 years, and then before that was 200. So I'm just slowly bringing it down, and I decided for 2026 that my goal would be 125, just because it suits my lifestyle a little bit more now. I have definitely aged and also gotten through some experiences recently that have made me value slowing things down in life. And I really enjoy reading, but I also want to enjoy some of my other hobbies and get more crafty, and I can't fit them all in at the same time. So with the intention of slowing things down, it did give me the opportunity to create this first functional page or spread with a little bit of a twist. I have been seeing the book mosaic for the last year, and one of the most notable people who've done it was Read with KF over on Instagram. She's also part of the Reading Collective, which is my Discord reading journal community. So if you'd like to join us over there, please do. And Kristen shares so much great information over there as well. But I really, really wanted to try this. And so I decided that I would do my first spread with this book mosaic. This is essentially a box or square that has been then divided up into 4 different triangles, and you can track whatever you want in there. I have decided to track star ratings, which is pretty obvious because I always track my star ratings. And then also I want to track my genres read, my format that I read the book in, and also the page length. These are the 4 pages that I've been tracking all year long in my reading data journal in 4 different trackers. And I wanted to combine it here in this first page of my 2026 reading journal, mostly for a visual. I will be repeating that information over in my data journal because I'm really interested in stats and keeping it all together. But for a very visual, functional first page, I thought this would be a great introduction to seeing how the trends go for the year of 2026. You might have seen on the video just before that I was pointing at things, and my cup, my little cauldron cup, had been brought over to my desk. My best friend had kindly brought me a drink, and I was just explaining the book mosaic to her like I am to you now. I will say that at this point, I am being a little bit out of order for my usual way of setting up a reading journal. I tend to plan out everything at once, and I also tend to have like my color palette sorted and everything else sort of lined up before I even put a pen to the paper. But with this series that I've been doing on Instagram, I've had to be a little bit more productive and a little bit more on the whim, and it's actually been really great for me and my confidence with knowing I can do these things without having to worry too much about my design and my ideas, because I have been journaling now since 2017 and having a reading journal since 2021. So I feel like I'm in a good space to be able to sort of just jump in, and I knew kind of what I wanted everything to look like. If you watched my cover page, you would have seen the most beautiful paper from this Park Lane pack, and I decided that I'm just going to use it for the rest of the initial pages or the challenges and initial yearly spreads in my reading journal. So I chose this really pretty purple and pink marble that really looked really gorgeous. So I'm going to add that at the bottom of both pages of the Dutch door. And I will admit that I wish I had done just a little bit less of ripping over the edges. On the Dutch door side, I think I would have preferred if I didn't rip it down the side. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But otherwise, I'm really, really happy with how the design has come together. I wanted something different this year, or for 2026. I have been doing really bold colors, and then I've done really like academic, heavy navies, maroon, green, gold, you know, that kind of coloring, the old classics binding colors. And then I obviously last year tried a muted version of my bright colors key. So this year I actually don't have yet the locked in key. So you will see that I don't color in the key today. That's because, like I mentioned, I just jumped into setting this up. I needed to show how you trace a header into your journal, which is obviously what I've been showing here, and I'm now coloring in that header. But I didn't have everything set up before I just jumped into doing that. So it was really great having that digital resource so I could lean onto that while I was setting this up and then sort of choose everything else as I went through. I really do like the Mildliner header color, and I will be using that throughout. I also use a second Mildliner color. I think you might have seen me swatch it before. They're really pretty. I think they're from the new pack. Everything that I use will be in the description below. And yeah, I'm really happy with this pinky purple kind of vibe that I'm going for with a bit of brown. I also really wanted to rely on these lace stickers again. I used them in my October monthly theme setup and absolutely loved them. I used a brown and a purple in that setup, and it's funny because essentially I'm using the same colors just in different hues for this overall setup. I think I'm in my purple era. If you know me, my favorite color is actually green, and that's why my journal just spoke to me as soon as I saw that floral cover with the green fabric I was sold. But purple has, especially lavender, has really become my everything. And I used to be a purple girl when I was younger. So it's nice to go full circle. So I'm really leaning into this being a bit more feminine and pretty for 2026. I'm not doing a fantasy theme. In the last couple of years, I have been doing a fantasy theme in my reading journal. And I decided that this year will be the year for just paying homage to some of the romance books that I've read over the last few years that I'm absolutely obsessed with, and keeping things a little bit softer and not so production heavy, if that makes sense. I am following a lot of people now on Instagram who give me such great inspiration, and I really want to lean into a little bit more of an organic type of journaling as opposed to this heavy production of having a year-long theme. Obviously, I still have this year-long theme of wanting to focus on romance books, but it's not going to match, if that makes sense. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm hopeful that you guys will enjoy the setup of this video, this journal through these videos, and have some fun just slowing things down a little bit and seeing how things are set up. So I decided that this lace tape had to go absolutely everywhere. At first, I was a little bit concerned that it overwhelmed everything, and sometimes less is more. But in the case of this Dutch door system, I knew I wanted to put something along the side there, and the lace made the most amount of sense. Obviously, had I cut that edge away, I wouldn't have had to lay down 2 layers of it. But then when you flip it over, it wouldn't be balanced as well as it is now. So on every edge except for the key portion, because originally I used the lace to separate the key from the boxes, and then I kind of got swept up in this craze of using the lace everywhere. So I'm really happy with how it looks. So now that the lace is on, except for that one last side, but I do put it on, we're going to focus now on getting the second portion of the decorative paper down, and then start working on the key. And this is what will keep me going with every single box. I did worry about how I was going to number them, because obviously you can see on the screen that they're very small. I can read them in person quite well. I don't know how well you guys will be able to read each box, but I don't think it's information that is necessary to know how many books I've read. Perhaps some people would like that information, but I will generally say that in the videos when I'm doing my wrap-ups anyway. So I thought this would be a good compromise, because normally I put a massive number in every single box, but because I'm doing this book mosaic, I needed to just put it in a corner quietly. So I'm now setting up the key, and I'm just mapping out how many spaces I need. And interestingly, I do make 2 errors on this key. One I'm going to keep. I just don't see the point in changing it for now. But the other is the header, which obviously is kind of a bit of a pain that I've made a mistake. For some reason, I don't know how to spell mosaic. That really bothers me, because I know how to say it. I normally know how to spell it, but for some reason, whatever it was, while I was setting up this journal, I just don't know how to spell it. I did film a planning video of like how I planned out each page, how many pages I needed for each spread, that kind of thing. You can even just see it right there that I wrote it down wrong on that little scrap there. For some reason, I just don't know how to spell it. So I was very humbled by this experience, and it was really great impromptu learning for the reading journal series of how to cover up mistakes. So my first functional page, and I make a mistake on it, but I wouldn't be me if I wasn't making a mistake somewhere, and it was very easy to fix. I do show you how I fix it both ways later on in the video, because I did show you could fix it 2 different ways. And I kept the little 3-lettered boxes, 3-letter box that you'll see later on. I'm trying to decide if I want to stick with the sticker paper that I use, or if I want to stick in the dot grid. I'm actually leaning more towards the dot grid paper, to be honest. But now that my head's in the way, we're just going to quickly put in these boxes using my Moxidori stencil that has seen more pen than anything else in my life. That circle is hanging on by a thread. It's so much ink around it. But this is where I made my first mistake for the key. I mapped this out online, so that was my error. I decided that I would map out for all star ratings, including 1.5 and 1, and I don't have a 1-star rating. That's a DNF for me, and I would never put that in my book mosaic. But there have been the very rare occasion where I have given a book 1 star, so I decided I would keep it. Who knows? Maybe that will happen in 2026, and that's very sad if it does. But yeah, that was a little bit of an error on my behalf. But otherwise, I'm really happy with how this little key has come together. I do leave this genre section alone. If you've been following me throughout the year, I have complained about the fact that I broke my genres section up into multiple subgenres and it just didn't work out. So I decided that I would only track 5 over 2026. I'm thinking that's going to be fantasy, romantasy, historical romance, contemporary romance, and then other. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. But I just want to leave it alone for now and think about it a little bit closer to the year. But everything else has been put on, and I am really looking forward to choosing my color palette soon and getting the keys all colored in. But that will be definitely something that I'll be doing. Actually, it'll be something that I have to do very soon because the next page is the bookshelfie, and I will need a key for that as well. So that's something that I definitely need to start thinking about a little bit more closely. Just putting in the page length down the bottom here, and I was using my reading data journal to show me what I needed for that. You can see here I'm trying to think maybe I should put it in, and then I was like, let's not. But there's only a small amount of things that I need to do to this page now, and if you've stuck around this long, please share your favorite purple emoji with me. I would really love to see that. So I was really upset that my header didn't fit the way I wanted it to. If I had written Reading Goal Tracker, it would have, but I didn't. So I found these beautiful butterfly stickers that I was gifted from my best friend. We have a huge thing for butterflies in our house ever since my mum passed away because we sort of made homage to butterflies around her. So I really wanted to stick this down in the corner here, and it's really, really pretty, and it went with the theme, but it did cover some boxes. So you're going to see my head for the probably millionth time, little slot into this picture as I try and get close enough to see what I'm doing. But I just needed to sort of pull away some of that sticker so it sort of was like the butterfly was behind the boxes, and then cut away the excess. But interestingly, I did not cut it all away, and I found out after I had finished filming that I left a whole portion sitting up there. You can tell that this was done late at night, and I was a little bit flustered. So here I am just thinking about it that night. Do I want to put that there? And I end up with the answer being yes. But for now, I'm just going to put some sparkles down and go to bed and come and look at this with fresh eyes the next day and find all my mistakes, which is fine. I really like this spread a lot. I'm really happy with how it's come together, and I'm really looking forward to using it next year. I also wanted to show that I got this really cool little vacuum for my desk that gets rid of all the eraser dust, and it's just a genius little thing. I love it so much. I did have one that I got from Temu, but it didn't have enough strength behind it. So this one is from Kmart, and it's in purple, and I really, really like it. I decided that the header didn't have enough sparkle on it. That's right, I remember now. And so I decided that I'd go around with an 𝓛𝓬𝓮𝓿 glitter gel pen and just add a little bit of colour to that. Just now the next day, I'm showing you how I'm fixing this little mistake that I made, and very easy to do. So if you have a cut off, and I obviously cut this off yesterday with the Dutch door in the video. So I'm just going to cut down to size a little area that I can stick in, making sure that the dot grid matches up, and it seamlessly does. And if I was going to just use this as my answer, I would have stuck that down. But because I wanted to show 2 different ways to fix it, I end up stamping it while it floats around everywhere. And because it's such a small piece of paper, it goes absolutely everywhere until I hold it down. So I changed the lettering around, and then as you can see, that would work as the fix. But I also wanted to show that you can use sticker paper, which I lean into quite a lot these days. I would have most likely coloured in behind the sticker paper to sort of get rid of the ghosting of the I and the A. But when you stick the stamps over top, it's very hard to see it in person. It's showing up on camera really well, which is kind of interesting, but it blends in really well in person. So I am going to actually change that, I think, and use the dot grid. But this is how it looks at the end. And I've gone and stuck on that extra piece of lace. If you've watched it all to the end, thank you so much. And I hope that you'll come back for the next one. And until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling. And I will see you in my next video, which will be coming very soon. Bye, everyone.